it is important, and there have been statements that have been issued. Of course, they are briefing at the right time because Defence Force doesn't work like anybody. They need time to ascertain the facts and look at their situation and thereafter brief. There are people who passed on, and they need to inform families. There are protocols there, and so on, that they need to follow. But we knew that the briefing was going to come, and probably at a given point in time there will be also the voice of the President. But the Minister tomorrow have assured us that he will deal with the details, which I think the media can look forward to that. The problem with South Africa is that people like to jump for things that they don't understand and speak out of turn. Justifiably so, because we are a vibrant constitutional democracy. Things like, is the army equipped? How did it happen that 9 soldiers were killed? Those are the questions the army must deal with. Something went viral that we've got no ammo, we've got no food. It was posted. All of those things must be addressed properly within the sensitivities of the army. But first and foremost, we need to understand that we didn't send our soldiers to war. We sent them to maintain peace. So if we send them to war, you will see grip in them. So if people attack us, we will go this direction of Pretoria in the afternoon. In 30 seconds, everything will have. So the attempts in terms of peace mission that our countries agree to. And those terms include the fact that what armament are you giving in and all of that. And so that those are the things that need to be looked at in relation to the peace mission. So countries are guided in this regard about that. So I'm happy that you asked a question and you left, so it's fine. But I'm available, I can tell you that, so that we can clarify you later. Maybe you are chasing a story, that's fine. But nonetheless, just to finalize the point, is that there are protocols that govern peacekeeping missions and countries in terms of their contribution. South Africa didn't go to Eastern DRC to fight a war. They went there as a peacekeeping mission. And we'll talk about that. In terms of that peacekeeping mission, the deployment was guided by SADC, Southern African Mission, in the DRC, in accordance with the principle of collective self-defense and collective action outlined in the SADC Mutual Defense Pact of 2003. And that has happened. That has happened in Delgado, in Mozambique. In fact, we are still there, in Mozambique. And we are acting there with Rwanda and others to avert that situation. Our soldiers are there. And I'm not sure whether they are back, but they are in Cabo Delgado as part of this collective defense pact of 2003 of SADC. So it didn't start now because there are casualties. And the ministry will explain what happened. We were informed, Parliament was informed, and under MONUSCO and Summit DRC, SADC, as well as the AU and the United Nations, this mission was established together with elements of the Congolese army and in the creation of what is called FARDC in Eastern DRC. And our army was part and parcel of that. So we didn't live here with all our artillery to go to war. We went there to maintain peace and join others. And in the process of that, when we're faced with challenges and we get to be attacked, and probably, I don't know, we become a collateral in the conflict, it's a question that we need to address. And this is exactly the point that President Ramaphosa is addressing with the heads of state. Because if we take everything stock and barrel and go to war in the DRC, the question will be relevant. For what? For what? We've got, I was in the eastern DRC in Goma, which has now been captured by M23. And I met those soldiers there. They had Roy Falk and everything and so on. In that, as part of that particular mission. But we are not there to war. We are there to maintain peace. And all the risks must be looked at. We went to Bangui, Central African Republic. Our soldiers died there. Zuma was the president. And then I see Mojo Mtau, he was the general of the intelligence in the army. He knows these missions are executed in what? And he says, no, we must go to war. War with who? It's wrong, that assertion. War with who? Stock and barrel, army, everything, carry the artillery, gripping in the air, Roy Falk, to fight who? We went there to join armies, Southern Africa, Tanzania, and Malawi, to maintain peace in Eastern DRC. M23, to repel them. Now, we must have a workshop if we forgot about what is this M23 and why we came to this resolution in the AU and everything else. There are business people in South Africa, it's true, who are doing business in Congo, mining and all of that. South Africa, under Thabo Mbeki, as our president, we were here at Luthuli House, working with the Congolese at Shell House to establish government in Congo. There was no government there. Kabila, his father came, and then his son came. We established government. We went to, what is this place? No, we went to Sun City with them to establish government under Kabila. Administration after administration, they've been faced with challenges. And the Great Lakes region, we have been faced with these particular challenges over time, including Rwanda, Uganda, Congo, DRC, and so on. So we have been dealing with this issue in South Africa. And we have had South African business people, black and white, going to Congo for businesses and all of that. It did not need our army to go and protect their interest. We have been in the Eastern DRC for a specific purpose, ethnic cleansing and all of those things that happened. If you remember what happened in Rwanda, and the world was watching, our foreign policy has made a commitment in terms of the African continent that we will work for peace in the context of the institutions, democratic institutions like the African Union and SADC. We will not act on our own. The fact that we have now realized casualties in the DRC, Eastern DRC, it's unfortunate that our soldiers died there, but they are brave. They are brave and they must be celebrated because they died on duty for Pan-Africanist cause that this government have actually embraced. They didn't die there because they were protecting minerals of somebody. Our people must not be misled. They went there for peace, and that is what it is all about, and it must be understood. So we have taken this decision for a collective action outlined in the SADC Mutual Defense Pact of 2003. So South Africa does not act alone in that particular regard. We act with others. This mission was deployed 15 December 2003 to support the government of the DRC. 15 December 2003 December, this mission was executed in Eastern DRC by the South African government. And that's what has actually happened there. Now, coming to the DA and what the DA lament about the GNU, I don't know what is the lamentation now. What the DA basically want, because as the ANC, we have committed to engage with partners going forward in terms of the GNU, and I will do that this week and the coming weeks to engage with everybody and talk about the GNU and what are their concerns. Talking via the press won't help. We have explained our position. Transformation is our agenda. And we need to understand that we did not have an agreement that all the bills that were passed by the sixth administration will come to a halt in our negotiations. We don't have such agreement. And as the ANC, if such a matter arose, we will be very clear with the DA that we don't agree. We cannot now use GNU for bills that have been passed in Parliament to halt progress. We can't. And if that then constituted a deal breaker, it should have happened then. You know, you don't operate like a street fighter. I'll get them that side. No, it doesn't work like that. You play your cards open. No, we are in, we'll find them. We'll find a way. No, it doesn't. That's why you've got to be honest with people you negotiate with. I can't go to some political party and promise them. They are just going to think that, no, this Mbalula is just a trickster. You know, he's a trickster, he's a tsotsi. He said this, now he's changing. When you negotiate, because this is about people's interest. We know DA, the interest that they represent, so we can't be untruthful to them. When we talk to them, when we're in the negotiations, when we're talking to them and say to them, no, we agree with you, with the belief that, no, we've got a way to get to them. No, it doesn't work like that. You become straight. If in the negotiations and the discussions it was clear to us that bills that have been passed by the sixth administration must be negotiated afresh, we wouldn't have agreed to that. And there is no such an agreement. So it brings me to the point that I wish to relate to that they talk about in terms of clause 19. That legally clause 19 of the statement of the intent will only apply to bills that are proposed, drafted by ministers or DMs. You know, that these are bills that will have to be approved by cabinet prior and so on. I mean, that's the process. You see, because in terms of the bills, you start first at cabinet, it gets to be discussed, the cabinet gives a green light, it goes. So the value chain in terms of how a bill is done, it is understood by all of us. So if today there is a proposed bill come through Dean McPherson, it will go through that process and then it will go through the clearinghouse if there is no finding each other. But these bills are not new. They went into those ministries knowing very well that expropriation bill has been passed and it's just waiting the signature. I was talking about the National Land Transport Act, e-hailing. It was sent back to Parliament. It's going to come back. President probably signed. But the president, before he signs, he follows the Constitution. So he can't sign something that is unconstitutional. If the DA and their partners, they believe what the president has signed is unconstitutional, then they have got an avenue to go to court to challenge that particular bill. But now it's an act, it must be implemented. I don't think that is the issue that they don't understand. The issue is fundamentally what they disagreed about right from parliamentary point of view. I think others are just confused because they don't understand Expropriation Act, what it means. Because before it, there was what was there in 1975. And that is what we are responding to. So it does not address what could not pass in terms of Section 25 in Parliament. So we need to take one another step by step to understand where we are. Neither are we saying that the land question is finally addressed in the country with this bill. So what does this bill enable us to do? And this is the point that we need to understand. That, and as I conclude my point, that the Expropriation Act expands the scope to include a public interest, such as land reform and promoting equitable access to natural resources, alongside public purposes. So the Expropriation Act introduces, again, the possibility of nil compensation in specific circumstances such as abandoned land, land acquired for speculative purposes, land posing risks to health or safety, land used for public interest without productive use. You know, you've got people here who own buildings and own land. They don't stay in this country. Nobody knows where they are. We are going to expropriate in terms of this act. Sizukulinda. Sibe silinde into esingayaziyo engabambekiyo. Sithatha umhlaba lo uzawubona nangu umthetho. But it will also be guided by judicial intervention. So it's not like land grab. And we can't just be living here with land, looking at it, and then we can't do anything to it. It's a health hazard zone. We can't do anything about it. This bill empowers us to do. Now, there is a bigger agenda in terms of land program that we are implementing, and that requires numbers and working together going forward. But this is a step in the right direction, and we managed to pass this in Parliament. So we must not confuse issues to meaning that we are misleading South Africans to say that everything and anything about land is now addressed. And I think Phoebe spoke about the policy context in terms of this. I think we have answered all your questions. What the Lekgotla will address is what is in this statement. We're not starting afresh. We're not inventing policy. We are simply saying that this year, what is it that we need to do? And that will find expression in the President's State of the Nation address, but equally, going into the new financial year and in June, planning for implementation. So that is what in government, that is what we're basically focusing on. So in conclusion, that is the point. Mamluko have covered me in terms of SOEs. We have not postponed SOEs, and if we don't discuss its privatization, no. That discussion is not postponed. We are consistent with what the manifesto said, what we must do, and we have explained now what is it that we need to do in government. We have supported the mission of Eastern DRC, and the tragedy that has befell us in terms of our soldiers is very painful to us. And our government must do everything in its power to ensure the safety of our soldiers. And like I said to you, in terms of issues of weapons, gear, and all of that, we have seen all of that in the public domain. And we have explained to you that the Minister and the Defence Force will have a press conference tomorrow and address all those issues. In terms of, is it true, and all of that, that these things that have been raised. Of course, within what is permissible in terms of the mission, our soldiers must be empowered within those limits to be in a position to execute. We went to Bangui, Central Republic. We went there to train people. We didn't go to Bangui to fight. When we arrived there, rebels attacked our soldiers. And we sent the advanced trainers in Bangui and all of that. And they were attacked by rebels, and some of them were killed. So we didn't send them to war. We sent them to go and train others. In the process, they were attacked. So in this particular instance, we are not at war with anyone. We are there in terms of what was agreed in 2003, in terms of the pact. We formed part of nations that contributed to the peace mission in Eastern DRC. Like we are in Cabo Delgado, I repeat once more, in Mozambique, we'll continue to do that. There are 28 missions to date that South Africa has participated in, from President Mandela to President Ramaphosa. And most of those peacekeeping missions have been peaceful and have been successful without any, injuries and all of that to our soldiers. It's only now in Bangui that we have seen this. So we really are with the families that have lost their loved ones, and the military people and the defense force must clarify the questions in relation to the rumors that are making rounds in our country, because fake news catch, like wildfire. So in no time, what is fake is a reality, only to find that it's not the truth. I've equally seen an account of soldiers in relation to the white flag. But I can't stand here and explain to you. But it's already news that our soldiers have surrendered. They've surrendered. They are running away. They've been in the DRC without food and ammunition and all of that. You see a flag posted by somebody through social media. You don't know the background of that. And then already there is a formulation out of it that our soldiers have surrendered. And the account on the ground from the soldiers and the commanders there is different. So I can't sit here and explain that to you. The Minister of Defense and the commanders and the generals will explain that to the South African media. But our soldiers have been brave, participating in a Pan-African mission to bring about peace. And anyone who seeks to suggest at a political level that this mission has got nothing to do with peace, other than interest, that have got nothing to safeguarding peace and all of that, we will be the first to oppose that, because we know what this mission is about. It didn't start today, it started way back in 2003. Successive administrations inherited this up until today. Should there be any agreement to withdraw and all of that, it must be political. It must be agreed. That is why there is troika, there is discussion among leaders. We must not be irresponsible, because we will not be trusted by other nations in the region and in the African continent. What has happened there has actually happened, and we believe that our government must handle that situation and give full account, which they will do. The issue of did we discuss Donald Trump? We don't discuss Donald Trump. We discuss global politics, international and domestic. And we did discuss, and we know that the world is not a happy family of nations. And the ANC's strategy and tactics guide us at all material times. We are for the global south. And what America says through Donald Trump is being handled by our government in terms of trade relations between the two countries. And our president have led from the front in terms of engagement and so on. From the party, in terms of the ANC, what we stand for, I mean, there's no change and shift to that. To what will the developments of America mean for the world is for us to continuously analyze and react to it appropriately. So that discussion we never miss. It is ever present in our meetings all the time when we analyze the global and domestic situation. SACP contribution was very constructive, and things are where they are now. We will engage with the party going forward, but the party didn't say we must stop. It cautioned us in relation to the GNU and made their views very clear, and we are moving forward. And that's what is important. What do you want me to say about this killer Janusz Walus? I mean, we were correct from the onset to oppose his release. And he has shown the world, and he has shown everybody. Remember, we went to court and were defeated in South Africa. Communist Party, our government, went to court to oppose the release of this man. Now he goes there, he says he will repeat it even tomorrow. We are vindicated. This is a killer, callous killer. Janusz Walus. And no remorse, nothing. And we were right that he must not be released. He must stay there in jail and all of that. He went to the DRC, said nothing, and so on. So I know what you want me to talk about, and I'm not going to. About a certain person. NWC meeting. The meeting of the NWC is not postponed. Meetings get to be rearranged from time to time. The NWC will meet on Monday and finalize its business, and so on. So that is what will happen. So the president, of course, is dealing with the DRC situation, which we encouraged them to deal with it and give space. We finished the Lekgotla Monday night around 10 o'clock. And Sunday. So we have been working, and there is government Lekgotla, there is DRC, all of those preparations. So we felt that we must give them space. Normally we meet on Mondays, so that Mondays are declared ANC days. So we will meet on Monday.